You like football, basketball, you're betting 10, 20, 50, the friendly wager, 100, whatever it is, this is the podcast for you. Never claim to be an industry professional, but you know what we do. Just kick it back and try to get you the quick flip off of the sports thing. No long talking, no lies, no limits. This is No Cap Bets. Today is October 18th, and this is the No Cap Recap. We're taking a look at all the games, last week's record in the NFL, the week ahead in the NFL, and the storylines pushing around the league. This episode's been brought to you by BetStamp. We line shop for the most valuable odds. Any game I'm placing a wager on, I go there first. I decide which book got the best payout, track my bet, off to the races. Download the BetStamp app now. Use the promo code NOCAPBETS. Once again, that's BetStamp with the promo code NOCAPBETS. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Thursday night, the game that nobody cared about. Washington Commanders win 12-7 as 1.5-point favorites. Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after fracturing his ring finger on his throwing hand. Bears, they had a chance to win like last second in the red zone. Just ain't their year, you know. And that reported injury to Wentz was announced on Monday. The Indianapolis Colts, man, if you watch the end of this game, Matt Ryan looked like in his prime. He drove right down the field after Trevor Lawrence got a lead with like 2 minutes left. He just diced up the Jacksonville defense. 13 seconds left. Throws a game-winning TD. Breaks the Colts record. A lot of great quarterbacks play for the Colts. Breaks the Colts record for most completions in a game. 42 completions. The Colts are now 3-2-1, good enough for second in the AFC South behind the Tennessee Titans. 2 weeks into the season, these guys were a write-off, but they are very real. The Green Bay Packers, not very real. 7.5-point favorites. This is the second time this year they've been favored by over a touchdown and lost outright. New York Jets, 27. Green Bay Packers, 10 points in Lambeau. Wow, what a home game. This game was 3-3 at the half. You do the math. I'm plus, but you could do the math. Their coach got to go. Aaron Rodgers, 26 out of 41 passes, 246 yards, and got thrown down, got roughed up a couple times, and I don't think he has enough. He doesn't have enough talent around him. And then on top of that, like, who's this coach? Like, what has this coach done? I don't know. At some point, you got to start calling out coaches, straight up. And we're going to get to you, Denver Broncos, at some point, for sure. Speaking of great coaches, you got a good one over there. And also, Jets get another cover, winning outright. They are a force. Speaking of New York teams, the Giants, they got a great coach, Brian Daboll. And my Baltimore Ravens, man. So the Giants cover the 5.5. They end up winning the game. They built so basically Ravens have a 10-point fourth quarter lead. Again, I don't know what their story is. They're blowing leads. It's crazy. And they were outscored 14-0 over the final 12 minutes of play. Ravens got to figure it out. They're still at the top. They're 500, but they're still at the top of the AFC North, sharing it with the Bengals. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow return to Louisiana, LSU national champions, as we all know. And they get back to 3-3 to share the top spot with the Ravens, the aforementioned Ravens that are really disappointing me right now. But, shout out to the Bengals. They were another team that you guys wrote off very early. Looks like they're starting to take their strides and make it back. Another game that nobody expected was the Pittsburgh Steelers. First of all, Pickett goes down, leaves the game in the third quarter with a concussion. Tampa Bay's won their last 6 road games straight, but they just couldn't pull it off. They end up losing 2018 as a 9.5-point favorite. Brady goes 25 for 40, 243 yards. He's seen on the sideline screaming at his own O-line. Like, everything is just in disarray over there. Apparently, their coach went on a little vacation, and he's out there talking about, oh, everybody thinks we're in a fantasy land since we won the Super Bowl, including you, coach. Sorry. I don't know what Bruce Arians is doing over there and how this dude got the job, but coaching is just a mess this year in the NFL. You know what I mean? A lot of great coaching over there in the NFC South, though. Not particularly with Carolina and the Bucks, but the Atlanta Falcons. Come on. 6-0 ATS on the year. Marcus Mariota looked incredible. We gave you this lock. We told you to take a money line at 4 points. Atlanta 6-0 ATS, and they deliver once again. As I said, Mariota looked incredible. He had a 144.6 passer rating. Dirty Birds win the game 28-14. Cleveland Browns. Why were they favored against the New England Patriots? They were favored 2.5 points. New England got that cover easy. They're quietly collecting wins. They've just won back-to-back games in a competitive AFC East. I feel like the Belichick disrespect is at an all-time high. Like, we get it. He lost Mac Jones, but like, are you forgetting like this guy is a system? He is a whole system. You just plug and play, and he's proven it. It's a second straight blowout. Browns put up 15 points. Like I said, I don't even know why they were favorite in another game that we gave you. AFC East. Speaking of them, the Miami Dolphins 3-point underdogs against the Minnesota Vikings went up to about 3.5 when the game started. It didn't even matter. The Minnesota Vikings made light work of the Miami Dolphins, and we locked that up for you last week. Shout out to Justin Jefferson, balled out another one. And of course, my guy, Kirk Cousins. The Los Angeles Rams, they went up against the Carolina Panthers. They were 9.5-point favorites. It got a little bit sticky, and then Carolina threw a red zone pick, and Rams just lightened that up. Rams got the easy money. They actually, Carolina actually looked better than they've ever looked this year without Baker Mayfield and without their coach. I'm actually curious to see where they're at. Might even take them this week. I'm not even going to lie to you. And then we had Geno, Seattle Seahawks versus the Arizona Cardinals. We gave that out. We told you that the Arizona run would stop on the road, and that's where it stopped. It stopped in Seattle. It's one of the very toughest places to play. Let Geno cook, man, and that's what got us 3-0. Their road streak got snapped. Their road win streak got snapped, and the Seahawks won their first division game of the year, 19-9 final score in what was set up to be the most dramatic game of the year. You had the Kansas City Chiefs up against Buffalo Bills. This one did not disappoint. Went down to the wire. Josh Allen, go ahead, get that cover. 2.5. And you know what? Everybody wanted to see this. So Bills get their revenge. Mahomes comes in last second, tries to maybe, make another move like last year's dramatics, throws a pick, and overnight, Mahomes becomes Machoke. I didn't even know that they had a name like Machoke for him. I don't really remember him choking, but now he's called Machoke as a result of this loss. We'll see how they respond this week. The Eagles and Cowboys. Now, when I looked at this game, I saw the Cowboys as 6.5-point dogs. One of the homies, shout out one of the homies who hit me up and said, yo, like, what do you think of this game? And I said, everything is pointing to Dallas, which makes me really, really suspicious. I'm going to go the other way. 6.5 just seemed too good to be true. And thank God we did. And if you went with the other way, congratulations to you. The Eagles are 6-0. They won that game pretty handily, 27-16. And didn't really look like the Cowboys had a chance in this one. And Philadelphia might be up there with Buffalo as a favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. This one took place last night, Monday night. Russ gets the cover, but he can't cook. His team sucks, so they lose in OT. I'm not blaming Russell Wilson anymore. He can only do so much. Chargers moved to 4-2, tied for first in the AFC West. Alongside the Chiefs. We know what you're here for. It's some early lines, some storylines, and some other things we got to get to. So we'll get to that right after the break. You're listening to No Cap Bets. Check out the Body Right podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Bless up. And we are back on No Cap Bets. Let's go ahead and break it all the way down. There's not really many storylines to go off of. All the spicy stuff happened in the earlier weeks of the league, like Tua getting hit, AB going crazy, exposing himself, but then, in the midst of mad people getting concussions, I don't know, there's some funny stuff going on there. You got the Dan Snyder investigation where he said he's got enough dirt on all these owners to put them all on blast. That went really quiet. And you know what? You guys see me rocking it. It is opening night in the NBA. Two big matchups. You got the Sixers up against the Celtics. You got the Warriors up against the Lakers. Tap in. We gave you guys some free picks on that. But this is the NFL No Cap recap. So let's go ahead and give you guys some of the early looks at this week's lines for week 7 in the NFL. Got the Arizona Cardinals 1.5-point favorites over the New Orleans Saints. I think I'm going to stay away from this one. I don't like Arizona at home. I don't like the way they're playing. I feel like New Orleans is not as bottom tier as we might believe, but they're not a great team. Doesn't look like something I want to get invested in. You got the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be an awesome matchup up against the Indianapolis Colts. As I mentioned to you before, the way Matt Ryan closed out that last game, he looks dangerous. I could understand why this line is 2.5. This is basically going to decide who's at the top of their division. So that's a great division matchup. 2.5 points there. The Jacksonville Jaguars, also in the AFC South, they are 3-point favorites against the New York Giants. Why aren't the Giants getting any respect? Like, I don't get that. 5-1, not favorites against Jacksonville. That's crazy. Tampa Bay, not looking too good either. Haven't covered at least their last 2 matchups. They are 10.5-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers. I'm telling you guys right now, do not be surprised on Friday if I'm taking the Carolina Panthers as a division dog at 10.5 points. That's a lot of points, man, especially for a team that's not looking that good like Tampa Bay. You got the Washington Commanders, 5.5-point dogs. They're at home versus the Green Bay Packers. Packers need to figure it out. They need a game like this with Wentz out. I think this might be easy money. Got Green Bay in a bounce back spot. Might look good. Don't know if I'm going to lock it in for Friday, but some strong probability. You guys let me know what you think of that game in the comments. Dallas Cowboys, they need to avenge whatever happened to them against the Eagles, and they're up against the Detroit Lions. Should be a cakewalk, but like I told you about this last spread, 7 points. I don't know why it's there, why that line's there. It feels like it's almost too easy, too good to be true. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions give Dallas like a bit of a surprise and Dallas kind of sneaks out with like a, last 2-minute touchdown in the end, win it by 4 or something like that. I would definitely see that. My squad right now, at least this year, the Atlanta Falcons, they are 6-point dogs on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't like AFC North favorites. I'm going to tell you that right now. This whole year, I'm not feeling AFC North as a favorite. I'm just not. The Ravens kind of blew it up for me, and so did the Browns. But the Ravens specifically because they just keep giving up leads. So is this a time for the Atlanta Falcons to go 7-0 ATS? I'm on the train. You know what I mean? I might not lock it in this week, but I'm on the train. Like, I'm going to put something together with Atlanta on it because I got no reason to get in their way. Speaking of the Ravens, they're up against the Cleveland Browns. They're 6.5-point favorites. I don't even want to touch this because I feel like my interest is to go with the Browns. My heart is going to go with the Ravens. I want no parts of this game. And we talked about Russ trying to do his best to cook, doesn't have the ingredients. He's a 3-point favorite at home against the New York Jets, another New York team getting disrespected on the line. I just don't get it. We got the Raiders, 7-point favorites up against the Houston Texans. I mean, underdogs, you saw it last week. Oh, like 6 of them pretty much won outright. Underdogs are getting a lot of love. So, I mean, I'm not sure why this line is 7. I feel like the Raiders been struggling. I feel like Texas has been struggling. Should be a little bit tighter than that. We'll see what happens closer to the game day. And you got the Chargers 6.5-point favorites up against the Seattle Seahawks. Wouldn't sleep on Geno for a second. Niners 3-point dogs up against Kansas City. I think Kansas City could pretty much take that one pretty easy. Miami Dolphins 7-point favorites up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know who they're going to start at quarterback because it appears Pickett had a little concussion. But maybe this is not a lot of respect for the Steelers on that one. And then finally, I told you guys about the disrespect of Bill Belichick. Well, he's an 8-point favorite going up against pretty much the worst team in the league, the Chicago Bears. We're going to give you those locks. And join us this Friday when we link up with the host of the podcast Parlay. His name's Weasel, Brooklyn's own, Phoenix known, cinematographer. Like, this dude does everything. Host, videographer, like you name it. He'll be on the pod to throw out some locks. And who are your locks this week? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, join the No Cap Nation, and hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the No Cap Bets podcast and stay all the way tapped in so you can get the quick flip off the sports team. You know the vibes. It's been another episode of No Cap Bets. Bless up. Thanks for watching No Cap Bets on YouTube. For winning picks, betting tips, and no long talking in the content, hit the subscribe button and join the No Cap Nation.